9 players remaining, and there are 7 places paid. So it's quite a heavy ICM scenario. So in this video, we are going to analyze the hands, see what happened, and just watch the replay, so to speak. Over here, you can make argument that Lippe is going to go all in kind of tight-ish. He is one of the short stacks still, but like he's going to probably jam wide range of hands, but like ace jack O is kind of like, you want to think about like, is Lippe jamming ace then no? Probably. If he does, you probably have to call with that stack size, right? So over here, Malacca style, we have Lex on the small blind. For the big blinds, jamming seems pretty standard. You do want to implement a all-in range in this type of spots. Tough spot for the big blind. I'm gonna assume you have to just go ahead and call, because it's Malacca style is going to, whenever Malacca style has like ace king, ace queen, maybe even ace jack suited, and some like top of the range, he's very likely to just raise none all in with such hands. So ace 10 0, you're going to probably do quite well against open jamming range. This is a hard spot. With ace 7, rate a lot having 9 big blinds. You hate your life here. You hate your life here. I'm gonna assume this is just a fault though. The idea is you're probably going to you're looking to get about like 60% equity facing this type of a jam. I think this is probably a slight mistake to call. And he does double. Lena, what is this? Then 4 suited. Interesting. I don't think I need to comment on that. You're not supposed to be opening that wide. There's no chance. No chance. Next raises, I assume Lena is going for the call. Lex can go either way here. Bet, check. I don't think it matters too much. So Lex is definitely going to barrel here. Probably goes 5-6 big blinds. But ace is a good card for Lex, right? Lex is opening all the ace-X, all the broadways. So ace actually connects very well. So it's probably on a little bit higher frequency turn barrel. So from Lena's perspective, it's not that simple for Lex to bluff here anymore, and Lena did hit 2 pairs, so it might make sense to donk from Lena's perspective if you would assume Lex is not going to find enough bluffs there. So aces, ace jack suited. So this is a spot where it's fine to flat. You can 3-bet. You can opt to play with direct money bubble. You probably are fine to flat. Servla probably should be going to non all in here to like 10 big blinds. Calling typically is not much of a thing in this type of spots for out of position player. Wow, he goes into a dang, hey? Let's see. So what you want to think about this type of spots are, yes, he's saying he has aces, kings, maybe a little bit ace king, right? But it's very small portion of the range. And once it's very small portion of the range and you start thinking like, hey, it's 30 big blind effective pre when you 3-bet, meaning that out of position player should probably have about like less than 30% of bluffs in their range actually. And if you look it from the frequency perspective, if it's like aces and kings, let's say, that's like what? 1% of value. So it only takes a couple of hands to be too many bluffs in your range. And for that reason, 5-bet jamming can be very, very profitable because you just expect too many 4-bet bluffs in Servla range. So definitely can see that being a thing. And you do see that it does look sometimes dumb. So Lex goes all in over here. Server wakes up with kings. But it does look dumb if you run into aces. So Lippe opens tens, big blind defense, ace jack O, very standard, small bet size. You need to defend here. So he's going to either check raise or call. Those are two options. So on a five connects kind of well with revenge bluffing range, right, on the flop. So if he had 9-8, basically if he had like a cut shot type of a hand, it connects quite well. So your ace jack type of or like your ace highs with backdoor flush draw, backdoor straight draw that you choose to check raise. Now you kind of want to keep barreling those because that's pretty much your bluffs. Rest should be pairs or better, or like not all of it, but like quite often. You probably want to give up ace jack now. You still can win sometimes. In practice, in equilibrium, you probably shouldn't, because if imposition player has like a flush draw, probably needs to bluff because he doesn't have anything else to bluff. I would just value bet jam it probably. The idea is if Revenge had King X or basically if Revenge had better than tens, he would probably just rip it himself. So that means Revenge range should be 7x, 6x, 5x, and yes, 7x would like to check raise on the flop on a lower frequency end. In final label, you do use your second and third pairs as check raises. It's not like super high frequency, but you do use blocker hands like those often. Hijack opens, Lena defends with nines. That's fine. Small bet size, just fold on the flop for Lena. The idea is Lipe is 35 big blinds, right? Lena has 50 and Button has 72, meaning Lipe is in an ICM, really heavy ICM scenario where his opening range should be very tight. And it's going to be tight to the extent where he's probably supposed to be opening around 20% of the hands, could arguably be even less, meaning he's just going to connect with the Broadway so often. Even if you are ahead on the flop, it's very likely going to be quite a high frequency barrel on the turn. And for that reason, you don't really win against hands that you're ahead of, because you're going to face a second barrel from those hands quite often, because everything is connected to with 20% range on the King Queen X, right? So I would probably have folded the pocket nines. I could be wrong. It could be still a defend with 9 of spade. 3 deuce suited defend. That's probably too loose to defend on the big blind. You should probably just fold. Just a bottom suited. King queen suited. You probably want to jam against big stack. If he had like a middling stack, you probably want to call more. And the idea is big stack is going to open wide range of hands, right? If he opens wide range of hands, that means you're going to have a lot of fold equity. This big of a stack, you probably just want to put it in pre-flop. But if he had like 30 big blinds, 40 big blinds, I think calling would outperform jamming pre-flop. 7-7-9 could arguably lead a little bit. If he bets 1, you mostly want to call. There is a check raising coming in though as well. It looks awfully like imposition player is milking with like pocket aces type of range. That's really bad card for Grozorg, because even if Servla was bluffing, then will connect so well with bluffs. So Servla should probably just triple it off always here. That doesn't make too much sense either. I guess he's just repping he's gonna have a lot of flushes here, because Servla chooses small bet size, so he's just leading, repping a flush here. That makes sense. Very high level thinking and play here. Imposition player can still jam bluff here with this hand. You don't mind jam bluffing here, but it is hard for Grozorg to bluff in these spots. Like, what are you really bluffing, right? But he's obviously a good player, knows what he's doing, very high level. So nice play. Lane open, slip should be flatting here. Three betting is interesting. Totally fine, but I do think this one would probably flat. You want to 3-bet smaller ace-6. Lena can go for a call here, non-all-in 4-bet. Jamming could be also fine-ish. BBC Brieflop Shards and Trainer The most effective way to train and improve your poker skills. Get yours now. I would say fold, but I'm expecting a five bet here, guys. It's going to into a click game. Nah. So this will be Lena needs to play a call here. You are not going to 3-bet pocket fours. This is like one of the spots you will see the rainbow type of spot where like you could be maybe start sizing up if you wanted to. And the idea is the big blind has to find defense, and if big blind doesn't have 2x, 3x that often, and like basically, even if you size up, big blind is kind of forced to defend very wide with weak holdings. Sizing up on a deuce, I'm not sure about that. So the idea over there is Lena, like with ISM, Lena's range should get pretty tight there, and is supposed to have decent amount of deuce x. And once that's true, Impulsive player doesn't really have any deuce x played on that line, or like close to zero. So not that big of fan on that bet size. But Lena is not supposed to be defending that much offsuit deuce x. If any, most of that might be just 3-betting, like ace deuce so, just 3-bet bluff, right? So not the end of the world, but I think I would like 2/3 there, not bot. So open, defend. You probably just want to call here, as your king high is showdown value. Raid a lot is in a spot here. You can continue barreling, but like checking makes a lot of sense as well. Again, like one pair hands, tripling off and stuff with ICM is typically not as great. It is a shorter stack play though. So over here the bet size, I think you should be probably sizing smaller, because if you think about it, you get to size up when your opponent is capped, right? But raid a lot checks a lot of a6 because he understands he can't go broke with a lot of a6, right? And for that reason, raid a lot is going to end up with a lot of drips in his range, meaning Lippe can't really start sizing up. He can build a part of the range with like a6 to size up, right? But you can arguably say he's jamming most of that pre-flop. So he doesn't really have much of a6. Raid a lot has a lot of a6. So sizing up king queen there, probably, if I had to guess, is a mistake. As raid a lot is going to have a lot of a6 in his range, I would imagine. So it would just not qualify. I think betting small makes more sense with king queen there, or check call if you want to go for that. I think either of those, but sizing up with king queen seems a little bit ambitious. I missed the action here actually. Interesting. Okay. Either way, there is a bet. Nothing Grosark should do here anything else than calling. You can arguably jam if you expect Lippe never to bluff any rivers, but like he's going to bluff sometimes, right? And you have the nut. Like there is no river card for Grosark that he's going to choose to fold. Interesting spot. Like you need to have give ups here for sure, because you did not like your range did not improve on the turn, so you need to give up your bluffs on the turn, and your range didn't improve on the river, so you need to have give ups on the river as well. It's gonna get interesting over here. There's a possibility that Button will go for a 3-bet. Lena is going to go for a jam. Really? I don't think that's a play, bro. I'm gonna imagine it's just going to be a big blind defend here. He's going for a jam. I think you want to jam. The idea is like raid a lot is opening a tight range. Whenever there is like very tight range type of open, it's like not that great to jam that much. Strategies, if you check a lot of them, there ain't that much like 25 big blind jamming. Unless there is like a lot of short stacks, then it's a little bit different, right? Queen. So the way you want to think about from Servla perspective is like, does Queen improve your bluffing range or not? I would say no. Kind of blank card. So you're likely to have a give ups on the turn with bluffs. So we definitely. Ooh, what is this? Really interesting strategy choice. I'm not actually sure if you have a jamming range here. If I had to guess, I would say no. Pocket three is too call, probably too loose to be fair. I like that. You do have like seven big blinds or whatever, but like the jamming ranges tend to like actually you do seven. Maybe it's fine actually. It depends how he sees the centralized building his jamming range. But like jamming like 40 big blinds effectively, it's like basically what he's doing is saying like, hey, I'm going to open such a wide range of hands that if you want to VPip a lot, you need to build a jamming range. And you need a jamming range because if you don't have a jamming range, what's going to end up happening is you're going to overfold to 3-bet jams and 3-bet not all ins. So that's why he's building a jamming range. He's expecting he has to VP a lot of hands, and the way he can do it, well, you build a jamming range. It's like kind of whatever. So over here, Queen do so is 3-betting against Lena. That's kind of whatever. Lena defense. This is one of the spots where you do see a calling range from in versus 3-bets. So I think it's like he could jam as well. I assume. Also, Servlad seems like the way the hand, like obviously we see the hands, so it's a little bit different. But the way I'm seeing this, like we do see a lot of hands, and Servlas just seems to be like trying to put the pressure on. So I think if I was Lena, I might have just ripped it in for that reason. It just to me, I would imagine he would likely see to me that he's just trying to put a max pressure, and he might be over bluffing in this type of spots. He might jam this. He might jam this. 8-4 suited. He might actually go for min raise with 8-4 suited as well. Like 8-3 suited kind of gets more closer, right? So it does make sense to see a jam there. By the way, if you're playing on lower stakes or something and you start jamming and people calling you off way too wide, don't do it. That's not your strategy in that case. You need to have the respect and fold equity to start implementing such strategies. It's interesting that he didn't choose to jam King 8-0 here, considering how wide he seems to want to play. But it's fine. Like I would also probably, for most part, just min raise. Probably have to defend this. Like it's just a one. You do have a gut shot, but yeah, it's very hard to see people you folding a gut shot here. Server is probably supposed to be barreling here quite a bit with the king highs. Like this doesn't rep really too much. So the problem with this bet size is it's basically saying I have a 10, right? Because if you had ace, you probably jam pre-flop, right? Big chip leader opens, you will probably want to re-steal. He's playing wide range of hands, right? So it doesn't really make that much sense, other than hey, I'm trying to value bet the 10 here. With sevens, you can't really go ahead and call. You can need about 60% equity, 60+% equity there from Lena's perspective. King Jack O is interesting. He's going for a limp call. The problem is if Servla would go like really huge ISO size, I think that would be problematic a little bit for the King Jack O. Servla shouldn't really have much of ace-x played on this line, very little, and Grossorg can definitely have ace-x played like this. If it goes check-check, Grossorg can pretty comfortably start value betting to river here. I think Servla wants to bet either here. Like, you have a bear, you have, so to speak, showdown. The ranges are still wide. Yeah, I don't like this. This is full of shit type of a bet size. Hey, let's bet and check it back. Crosser, seeing how he plays, knowing I have played with him, wouldn't have shocked me to see him check raise this. Because once you bet one, it makes no sense. Are you betting one if you have ace? No. Do you want to bet one if you have king? Maybe, probably still no, right? So basically, by him betting one, it just caps his range to very extensively. So I don't really like the bet one there at all. Just doesn't make sense. I do think like the bet one would be kinda. mm, it would make sense to play, so to speak, like random players. In if you play a random player or somebody who does not really play like think high level, but I think that's just like me. So Servla is probably going to go non all in and get seed in. I think you could arguably jam, but the idea of going non all in is if raid a lot, Lena waking some up with something and Lipa also goes all in, you actually can get away from with this one, right? Wow, Servla just in the god mode, huh? Just the god mode. Aces, kings, eights against nines now. That's how you would like to run in a 5K. I can tell you that much. It's definitely how we want to run in a 5K, guys. Actually, this is exactly how we want to run in any fucking final label or any tournament, to be fair. Jack 10-0 is like a too, like, that's probably too tight. Like, you still need to defend that one. So, the idea of you needing to be very tight comes from the fact that somebody is opening tight, right? Yes, it's ice and pressure and all of that one, but Zera's like it's been all over the place. It's like not having a fault button, right? So you do need to still defend those type of hand like Jack Deno. It just seems a little bit too tight to fault there. Seeing how it have been played out, obviously we see cards he did not, right? Lena probably wants to raise here. Trap as a limp as well. Raising makes sense. I would probably choose to go 3x. Doesn't really fucking matter though. It does not matter. The like small things. Also, if you let solver to use 2.5x, 3x, it probably mix everything. What a shitty flop if you have bucket dens, huh? You're not happy. You're not happy. Interesting check by him. But he is supposed to be checking here quite a bit. Lena seems to be betting a lot of mixed equity. Even though over here it could make sense if you think Servla is betting all the Queen X Jack X away, that you're then just becoming a value bet here. The sizing also is like small and like kind of feels like this does not make sense. I understand. This is basically saying he has like weak, like even if you have weak Queen X, Jack X, do you really want to choose this size? Servla like just putting pressure on, huh? I'm not a big fan with open ender here though. Sure, bluffing, but again, he might be looking at Lena and be like, "Yo, bro, this just does not make sense. You are being very weak here, very capped with this because of the size you chose." So I like the Servla just putting the pressure on Lena. He's going to jam 5-4 suited here, but like jamming is not that big of a thing on a three-handed final label. The idea is the risk premiums go a little bit more down, and the jamming shouldn't really. It's way different game with three-handed. BBC Brieflop Shards and Trainer, the most effective way to train and improve your poker skills. Get yours now. So Servla goes to a min raise, jam. It's going to get called now. They run it. 7 on the flop, hey? The run good seems to be over for Servla. Does raid a lot take it home? I think raid a lot is going to bet here. Very small bet size though. Servla coming in with a check raise, maybe? Thinking about it. Just check call. Raid a lot should go baller here. This is probably too small. So if you bet very small with an ace on the flop, basically what you're doing is like, hey, telling your opponent, hey, if you have ace, start check raise me, right? He did not choose to check raise you, so Raid a lot probably just should be overbetting the turn, at least pot it. Yeah, like you have aces, you want to build a bot. At 50 big blinds, probably 2.5xing at this point. Would like sizing up here from Raid a lot as well to 3 big blinds, maybe. Interesting check raise here. Raid a lot can go for 3-bet, can go for call. That's a kind of a action killer for Raid a lot. Sure, he turns the set, but like his bet calls against 2-bets are going to be a lot of ace-x, right? So from Servla's perspective, that's a bad card for his range. Just the way he has been playing, I imagine he's going to pay once here. Fold to river unless he improves. Ooh, he just gets away from it, huh? Yeah, even like Servla, like 2.5x, boys. Go look at pre-flop heads-up charts. Must be 2.5x, right? I might be wrong in 2.5x, but it's definitely 2.3x. If you like, we ran tests about that, and I think like it was never a min raise really. Maybe bigger size here. What terrible Turgard for raid? A lot. Another small bet, huh? It's just like it makes sense with your from your range perspective. I don't know if it makes sense from like your hand perspective, right? Zedman is obviously going to bluff this, right? Like, what else is he going to bluff if it's not that? Just jam? Definitely have flushes, right? Wow. Will Raid a lot call this, though? No, I think he's going to fold. What a hero he would be if he calls here, huh? What a weird line. So Zedman is going to call this. Could mix in a 3-bet probably with this tweeted stuff. So, monotone boards, you typically just want to bet very small if you go for a bet. So, bet like 1.5 big blinds type of a bet size. It's fine. What is this, eh? I guess you just sometimes like, hey, I don't believe you. Bye. I'm praising you. Very interesting heads up match. Like, I don't know. I'm not a heads up expert by any means, so. To me, it's just interesting to see. I think I will be playing quite a bit differently in some spots so far. So it will go bet, raise. Could mix in a call. I don't think it matters too much, but you typically want to raise these spots a lot with the top pair. Against small bets. I imagine it's just going to see a bot here. Based on how Servla plays. Overbet. That's fine. Tough spot for Raid a lot. He's going to have some ace-x played exactly like this. So 10x is definitely on like a dicey side. That seems a little bit tightish check back, right? Probably wants to raise. You want to mostly raise King 10. Okay, this must be going in, right? Limp pot, top pair versus 2 pair. Like, what else can we do here? So he's going to size it about 7, 8. There's no way you get away here unless you're going to have some type of read. Yeah, he's just putting it in the middle. Needs a 10 or it's over. It is over. GG, Zevla, and Raid a lot. So that's it, guys. If you guys like this type of content, let me know and I will keep popping those out. And yeah, good luck everybody who's playing and I'll see you guys around.